Sugar is present in almost everything we eat today, and although many people see it as harmless, the reality is that it is one of the most addictive and damaging substances for the modern body. What's even more concerning is that most people don't realize what is actually happening inside their body every time they consume sugar. When you consume sugar, your body quickly converts it into glucose, causing an immediate rise in blood sugar levels. To compensate for this increase, the pancreas releases insulin, a hormone that allows glucose to enter the cells. Up to this point, this is a normal process. The problem begins when this cycle is repeated constantly, day after day. Over time, the body starts to develop insulin resistance, meaning it needs to produce more and more insulin to achieve the same effect. This doesn't just affect metabolism, it also triggers chronic inflammation throughout the body. Inflammation is one of the most dangerous effects of excessive sugar consumption. It is silent and painless at first, but over time it begins to damage blood vessels, organs, and cells. This chronic inflammation is directly linked to conditions such as type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, obesity, fatty liver, and even cognitive decline. One of the most affected organs is the liver. When you consume excess sugar, especially fructose, the liver converts it into fat. Over time, this can lead to fatty liver disease, a condition that many people have without knowing it, and that can progress into more serious problems. The pancreas is also affected, as it is constantly producing insulin. This continuous demand can lead to exhaustion, increasing the risk of developing diabetes. The brain is not spared either, and this is where one of the most important points comes in. Sugar is highly addictive. When you consume sugar, it activates the brain's reward centers, releasing dopamine, the same neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and addiction. This creates a cycle where you need more and more sugar to achieve the same level of satisfaction. That's why it's not simply a lack of willpower, it's a real biological response. Now, let's talk about the most problematic foods, because many people believe that only visible sugar is the issue, but that's not true. One of the biggest problems today is sugary beverages, especially energy drinks and carbonated drinks. A single can of soda can contain between 35 and 40 grams of sugar, which is approximately 8 to 10 teaspoons in just one serving. Energy drinks often contain similar or even higher amounts, in addition to caffeine and other stimulants that can worsen the metabolic impact. Canned or industrial fruit juices are not a good option either. Although they are often perceived as healthy, many contain between 25 and 35 grams of sugar per serving, almost the same as a soda, but without the fiber found in whole fruit. The problem with these beverages is that sugar enters the bloodstream very quickly, causing sharp spikes in glucose and insulin, promoting inflammation, fat storage, and metabolic stress. In addition, other highly problematic foods include breakfast cereals, white bread, refined flours, desserts, cookies, ultra-processed foods, low-fat products that compensate with added sugar, and commercial yogurts with added sugars. All of these foods keep the cycle of glucose spikes, high insulin levels, and chronic inflammation active. Now, the important question is, how long does it take for your body to recover once you reduce or eliminate sugar? The good news is that the body can begin to improve faster than most people think. Within a few days to a couple of weeks, you may notice more stable energy levels and fewer cravings. Within a few weeks, insulin sensitivity can start to improve. And over a period of several weeks to a few months, inflammation can decrease significantly, liver function can improve, and metabolic health can begin to recover, depending on the level of prior damage and consistency in lifestyle changes. Now, what can you use as substitutes? The best approach is always to reduce overall sweetness, but if you need alternatives, some of the better options include stevia and monk fruit, which have minimal impact on blood sugar and insulin. Erythritol is another option, although in some people it may cause digestive discomfort. Artificial sweeteners like sucralose, commonly known as Splenda, are widely used and generally considered safe in moderate amounts, but some studies suggest they may alter gut microbiota, increase cravings for sweet foods, or affect insulin response in certain individuals. So, while these substitutes can be useful during the transition, they should not become a long-term replacement for high sweetness. The goal is to retrain your taste and reduce dependency on sweet flavors altogether. So, what can you do to start reducing sugar? First, gradually reduce your intake, starting by eliminating sugary drinks and ultra-processed foods. Second, increase your intake of natural foods such as high-quality proteins, healthy fats like avocado, olive oil, and nuts, vegetables, and fruits in moderation, especially berries. Third, avoid eating constantly throughout the day. Giving your body breaks, including intermittent fasting, can help improve insulin sensitivity. Fourth, get enough sleep because lack of sleep increases sugar cravings and disrupts hunger hormones. And fifth, look for healthier alternatives such as whole fruits or dark chocolate high in cacao. Reducing sugar is not just an aesthetic decision, it is a metabolic decision. It means lowering inflammation, protecting your organs, improving your energy, and increasing your longevity. Sugar is not just food, it is a metabolic trigger that can define your long-term health.